Ok. Hola a todos los amigos de la revista online del maestro, organizada por el maestro Ivanevsky. Estoy nada más y nada menos que con el grandioso Jeff Smith. Y vamos a hacerle una entrevista. Va a ser en inglés, pero la vamos a traducir para que todo el mundo pueda entender en español también. ¿Ok? Jeff, thank you so much for having me. Hola. Muy bien.
Muy bien, okay.
Muy bien. Okay, so we're supposed to...
We will talk in English because I am better.
Yes, of course.
I'll make much more sense.
Of course, and I have my cheat sheet here. But first of all, I would like to say something else in Spanish.
Okay.
Jeff, para la gente que no conoce a Jeff, él es un cartoonist, un caricaturista súper galardonado. Él se ha ganado 10 veces el premio Will Eisner, que es el equivalente al premio de la Academia. Súper galardonado, más aparte también el premio Harvey 11 veces. Así que tenemos aquí a toda una personalidad. So, did you get any of that?
I think you were talking about some of the awards.
Yes, I was telling everybody that...
I actually knew Will Eisner, that the awards are named after.
Really?
Yes, we were very good friends for about 10 years.
Oh my
Before
God.
he died.
Yeah, I know that. That's amazing though. That's what an honor.
Oh yeah, I loved him. He was very cool. So anyway,
okay. I'm not gonna talk about your biography. I'm not gonna talk about your awards because everything is in the internet. Everybody knows about you. I'm gonna talk about Jeff.
Okay.
My friend.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so ready for your questions.
I'm ready.
Who is Jeff? Tell me about you, a little bit about you.
Well, I grew up in Central Ohio. I was born in Pennsylvania, but my parents moved here when I was very young, like 2 years old. Went to Worthington High School on the north side of Columbus. I always loved cartooning and comic strips. I like to read Peanuts, and I loved Bugs Bunny on TV. And sometime in the very end of high school, I started to think I would like to draw a comic strip. I fell in love with Peanuts and Pogo, and Doonesbury at that time was very big. And I'm going to tell you two more things. I started to read The Lord of the Rings and some of these comics that were coming out of Europe. Metal Hurlant with Mobius and Bilal. There were these guys drawing these fantasy stories, but they were intricate and they were for adults and for grown-ups, And I thought, boy, if I could mix Bugs Bunny, and Uncle Scrooge type classic American comics with this new thing that was coming out of Europe in the late 70s, I thought, boy, that would be something. And that's exactly what Bone is. You've got those three-fingered, Bigfoot, big nose cartoon characters mixing with the Lord of the Rings. It's like throwing the Marx Brothers. Yes, Marx Brothers in with Aragorn.
That's really cool. I love that. Are you ready for the next? Oh, okay.
That's up to you. You're in charge.
Well, you already did say how you start making comics, so I'm gonna skip that one. What it is your most important artist tool? I'm talking about now in your studio, like your laptop, or you have a favorite pencil that you use. What's the best tool that you like to use?
I have a very good drawing board, and I have a little pencil box that has my paintbrushes and my pencils in it, and a little pencil sharpener. And if I can go anywhere as long as I take that little pencil box, because I can just draw anything. So I do use computers, but they're mostly for communication, for business. When I color my comics, I color them in Photoshop. But when it comes to like 2 o'clock in the morning, the only thing I have is my drawing desk, my paper, my pencils, and Pink Floyd turned up to about 25. 2 in the morning.
That is amazing. I didn't know you were using all the time, like by hand.
It's all by hand. Oh yes, yeah. So a lot of cartoonists I know that are younger than I am work on their Cintiqs. They have pens that draw right on the computer, and they're very good at it. And they can master lines like thicks and thins and lush, beautiful line work that took me, decades to learn with a paintbrush. They can do it like in 2 days. And I've had a lot of my younger cartoonist friends try to talk me into it. They show, here, look at this, I'll show you how to do it. And yes, it's just not the same for me. For me to feel the tooth of the paper and my pen or my pencil or my paintbrush, and to push that black ink around on that white paper until it fills out into this shape that I see in my mind, it's very exciting, and I would never give it up. It's too late for me. I'm gonna go down with paintbrushes and pieces of paper.
I think my teacher, he's going to be super excited about that.
Yeah.
I think so. Okay,
there are advantages to the computer because you can make changes much more simply. So.
Yeah, and fix mistakes.
And fix mistakes very quickly.
Okay, my next question would be, how do you work? Do you invest a lot of hours, or do you need to take breaks often? Do you need to be by yourself?
Yeah, I have to be by myself for extended periods of time, especially there's multiple stages of, because I write and draw as you're working to do. So there's the period where you just have to allow yourself the freedom to just daydream and think about what you want to think about. What kind of story do I want to write? Oh, I have this one kind of idea. It's a little piece of a story, but I'm going to focus on that. And then I'm allowed to then the story I'm currently working on that takes place 2 million years ago. It's about our earliest ancestors that cooked with food and came to dominate the planet 2 million years ago. And that's a fairly new theory, because they used to think that man only started using fire like a few 100,000 years ago, but 2 million years ago is way back. And there were other human species alive at the same time, like Lucy, the Australopithecines, and the Homo habilis. And I'm getting distracted. But my point is that I am allowed to just sit there for days and just watch documentaries about these topics that are interesting to me. And I can read books on it. I can download them to Kindle, or I can go to the book loft and I can get books on evolution. And that period of research might be my favorite part about being an artist and a storyteller at the same time. And then then you got to draw. You have to do research. Thank God there's Google Image. So what does a tree look like in East Africa? So that kind of stuff.
Very interesting.
I used to look all this stuff up in Encyclopedia Britannica. I did all of Bone with an Encyclopedia Britannica. That was before Google.
Wow.
Yes, I know, P. I'm very old. I'm sorry.
He's in the middle of the interview,
yes.
Of course. Literally in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question would be, what inspires you?
It's whatever I want to think about, whatever I want to play with, whatever kind of stories I want to tell. Bone, my first story, was very much about this idea of putting American cartoon characters into European fantasy settings. My next book was Wrassle, which was about taking science fiction and mixing it with like the Maltese Falcon type noir film kind of stories, mysteries and things like that. And I've worked on superhero books. So whatever's fun is what you kind of. And let me explain. It's so much work to draw comics, to do your own writing and your own illustrating. I mean, you have to think of the story, research it, as I was just saying. Then you start jotting down notes, and you fill up notebooks of this stuff, and then you start sketching things, and eventually you get to the point where you're making little penciled versions of your comic book pages, which have to be blown up, drawn again, tightened, inked again. You go over the same material over and over and over, and if you don't love what you're writing about, you're going to be very bored. But if you are fascinated and you can keep the thing, the story, the art alive the whole time you're doing it, it actually gives you energy and can keep you going.
That's great.
I have no idea if that answered your question.
No, you didn't. Actually, I was.
No, you didn't.
No. Honestly, you did, because, and I was actually picturing all your notes and how you are sketching and how you have your pieces of paper.
Yeah. I have files and files, and it's not all written on hand. Some of it's in the computer. I have lots and lots of files on my laptops and on my iPads, and it's just a lot of work. And you must love what you're working on to keep the passion going, because otherwise it just will start to deaden up. And that's the most important thing when you're drawing or when you're storytelling. You have to keep it alive the whole time. Because if it's alive for you, it'll be alive for the reader as well.
Yes. Thank you for telling us that. What would you advise to the new artists out there?
Wow. I've been asked this a lot, and I don't really have a good answer, but I know the main thing is to find the artists or the authors or whatever that you like, and read everything they've written. Read interviews that they've done and find out what they think about. Emulate them, copy them outright. Figure out what it is they're doing that turns you on, and figure out how to bring that into your work. And that's what it's all about. Because there aren't a lot of majors in how to do what we're talking about, either children's books or illustrating or comic books. It's just up to us to find what fuels us.
Thank you. Okay, next. You can tell that I'm not an interviewer.
I think you're doing good.
Okay.
Taco, he's pleased.
Oh yeah, Taco.
What's happening, Taco?
You're also here, very interesting, right? The interview it is? Yes.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, one more question. What's your biggest satisfaction at work?
Well, I'm going to give you two answers. One is sort of like the metaphysical answer, like when you're working and you're kind of fighting with something because you have an idea in your head and you kind of want to, how you want it to play out, and then it's not right, and then all of a sudden something clicks into place and you're like, yes, that's it, I got it. But then I'll give you a more earthy answer, which is when you finish your book, and I know you know this. You get a package in the mail that has your finished book in it, and you open it up and you go, yeah! That's really, really fun. Yes. Speaking of, I have something I want to show you. This is a copy of my new book, which just came out. All right.
Oh, my goodness.
That came out 3 weeks ago, and it's published by Scholastic, and it's a children's picture book that takes place. All my books are for the
I know that.
What was I saying? Oh, well, it's published by Scholastic, and it's actually for, like 4 to 5 year olds or something.
Yeah.
Cheech.
She's licking my arm. This is a fun interview, you can tell.
Yeah. It's casual.
Oh, wow. This is awesome. I love it. I love the hardcover too.
Yeah, well, Scholastic knows what they're doing. That's what they do, and it was actually their idea to use some of my characters in a children's book, because I did the Bone Story, which is like 1,300 pages or something, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't want to do a sequel. And then they came up with the idea of, well, why don't you do a story, just a little kid's book? But now I have something else I have to show you.
All right.
I just got this today in the mail. This is my next
Speaking of
children's book.
excitement.
This is the next children's book, and this is not the real book. This is what's called a printer's proof.
Yeah.
So this is for me to just see that the colors look good.
Oh.
And this book will come out next spring.
Oh
So-
my God! Did you see that? Did you see that?
And we made it public today, so I'm allowed to share it out loud. So.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Esta es una primicia para todos. Todavía no está ni siquiera a la venta y ya nos está presentando su siguiente libro que será publicado en la primavera.
Mhm. So
Oh, wow.
and so now we'll say cheers
Cheers.
to cartooning and books and children's books.
Thank you. Cheers for that.
Goose. Thank you.
Cheers, Gus. No, we're not done yet.
Oh.
We're not
done
done.
yet.
No,
We're not done
no.
yet. All right.
Okay. I know. We're just enjoying the interview. Next question. What?
There's a more question.
A lot more.
Oh, I thought you said this one more question.
No. No, a couple. I'm gonna say
That's
not
fine.
a lot more. A couple
That's
more.
fine.
Okay.
I'm ready.
What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Good weather, being around friends, grilling. I love charcoal grilling, drawing, telling stories.
Simple things, which I love.
Yeah.
Could you tell me what's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote. I don't know if I have a straight up favorite quote. I can tell you that one of my favorite authors is Mark Twain. And I just love the way he writes. And he probably has a million quotes. And if I was a little more on the ball, I would have given you one. But I don't have an actual quote.
So you know
But
how.
I think about no, not really.
Okay, that's good. Who do you admire?
Right now, who do I admire? There's mostly it's cartoonists, and a lot of them are younger than me. They're the new people getting into the field, and they have an entirely new outlook on what's going on. Because when I broke in, it was mostly a boys' club. Comic books were only available in like hobby shops, and now there are graphic novels. You can get them in Barnes and Noble. You can get them at independent bookstores. You get them on Amazon, and it's no longer a boys' club, which makes me very happy. It's a very diverse field, and the way the younger generation, young women, LGBTQ, W's, Q's, question marks. I'm old. They just have jumped into this with a gusto, and instead of worrying about wanting to get a job drawing a corporately owned character like Batman or Spider-Man, they want to write stories that come from within. Sometimes based on real life, sometimes just based on their own ideas, and it's very exciting. It's a lot. It's fun to see. It's fun to read for me too.
Ben, ¿qué tan humilde él es? Admirable, realmente admirable. I know you.
I don't.
I know, but what I'm saying is that you're awesome. What's your strongest memory of your childhood?
My strongest memory. Well, I can tell you one that actually ended up in Bone, in the giant epic Bone. When I was, and I don't remember how old I was probably in 4th, 5th grade, and I was going to get braces, and I had some kind of dental orthodontic thing done where they put laughing gas, like a.
Oh yeah.
And I remember that the doctor. This was so long ago that the doctor would like smoke in the room while he's talking to you. It's like in the 60s or the early 70s. And I remember that he put it on me, and I couldn't breathe, and I was trying to tell him I can't breathe, and he thought I was being, dramatic or something. And he held me down. And he held this mask over my face, and I kind of went, and I thought to myself, I saw my body kind of lift out of the body of the chair, and I kind of went, and I said, well, I hope they don't mind if I leave for a while. and I went up around, and I went up to the ceiling, and I looked back down, and I saw the light. Oh, I saw me sitting there. I saw the nurse and the doctor and the thing. And then I turned around, and I just took off toward the light. But then it just turned into a normal dream. And then I woke up later. But I never forgot that. It was quite amazing. And this was decades before they started talking about it on TV, that people would do this. So I put it into Bone. So if you read Bone, the very moment at the end when he touches the crown of horns, he has the exact experience that
exactly.
I had.
I know exactly because I read it, so
yeah.
I know. That's why I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a very powerful, semi-traumatic, but also awesome memory from childhood.
Wow. Wow. I'm so glad I asked you that.
Yeah, I'm so glad I have some wine. So.
Next one, it will be, what has been your most touching or amazing moment you experienced as an artist?
Well, I think there was the moment that I talked about earlier where you open up the box and you see your work in print, published for the first time in its final form. That's very exciting. But there was a moment when I knew that my work was connecting to people, and they, would wait in line to have me sign their book, or I might win an award or something, and that was unbelievable, because you can't even wish for something like that. I mean, it either happens or it doesn't. You can't want it, but if I'm sure I know it's going to happen. I know people are going to come up to you and tell you how much your books mean to them. That's coming. I know it.
I know, and this one is not even on my list, but I want to finish with this one. Did you ever dream about being as big, successfully speaking, as you are now?
No, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to draw comic books. Who knew the comic books would be cool? I know, I really had no idea. I feel happy that I got into the field I got into at the moment it was about to break out of comic book little hobby shops, which I love those little hobby shops, but they were isolated, and suddenly I was there when it broke out and not only got into bookstores, but into Amazon. But it was at the moment when women and people of color broke in, and I was very lucky, and it's been an exciting time.
This is so cool. Well, I have a surprise for you.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want you to say something in Spanish first.
Okay.
Can you repeat this? Mi mejor dibujo.
Tell me what it means, and I can do it. You don't want me to tell? You don't want to
No. My best drawing. Mi mejor dibujo.
Mi mejor.
Mi mejor.
Mi mejor.
Dibujo.
Dibujo.
Es. El. Próximo.
Próximo. Was that? How bad was that?
My best drawing is the next one. Because I'm sitting right here, I'm gonna ask you to grab those pieces of paper over there.
Right.
Can you grab them, please?
Uh-oh. What do we have here?
Those are for you. Take a look to them.
Okay.
Just turn around.
Wow. So no, wait. Did you draw these?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I have to look at them first, then I'll share them with you. Oh.
Do you know what it means?
Oh yes, that was actually yes. So there's Phone Bone. Thorn, I'll return your soap. That's very funny because that's a scene that is very innocent, but I get a lot of people say it's very charged with sensuality, but I don't. But yes, but this is lovely. I appreciate it because this is an important part of the story because it's not supposed to be sexual. It's supposed to be sexual in that way when you're like in middle school and you have a crush, and you all you can think about is if you're a girl or boy, or if you're a boy or girl, or whatever you're into, this is wonderful. Thank you. This is a very important part of the story.
But I try my best.
It's actually it actually really looks like him. It does. And he's got his gloves.
It does.
So, Big Nose, Big Foot, that is a style of cartooning that is very famous. I think it started in America and it was very famous in Europe for a long time. What else do we have?
And it's handmade.
Oh, this is handmade.
No computer.
Yes. Did a computer draw this?
No.
No. Look at that. Oh, what is he? So he's like cheered on on the lake of the dead or something, or what is
it?
this?
It's an adventure.
He is.
New adventure, and he has to die.
He does.
Something.
I think this is wonderful. He's leading phone bone. Oh man, go! All right.
That's what
He has a little cooler in the back. I don't know. He's got some beers or something back there. Oh, Sylvia, these are wonderful. Thank you so much.
One more.
Oh, there's more.
This one.
But wait, there's more.
But wait. Mi mejor dibujo es próximo. Oh, that's what I was saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Ah. Oh, that is you've got his expression. So this is a thing in cartooning. It's acting, right? But in the drawing, showing extreme joy or mild joy or frustration or humiliation. Something I learned from Peanuts. You know, Charlie Brown with just 2 dots and a squiggle line, and you knew that in his stomach he was embarrassed. And I mean, that's so amazing that you could show emotion through drawing. You did very well there.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Very amateur. Well, I think that's it. Es todo. Es nuestra contribución para la revista online. Muchas gracias, Jeff. Es un honor tenerlo aquí con nosotros y con todas las primicias. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Jeff, for everything, for being here with us and sharing you.
You're welcome. Gracias.
Bye bye.